Hi, welcome to Cook with Joy. I'm Joy Kelly, and this is my cooking show. It's my season 4 of my cooking show, Cook with Joy.
I can't believe we've done 4 seasons already.
I know, and this is my friendly cameraman, Derek. He's always been here to just throw in tips whenever he thinks he's got one. Sometimes he's on, sometimes he's not.
Wow.
We try to have a lot of fun. We try to bring you food that is healthful, yet delicious, and teach you some tips along the way. And like I said, have a lot of fun. Today, we're gonna make a really versatile spread that I've never made before, but I've read the recipe so many times that I feel that I know it already. And what I love about it is that you can use it on anything. So you could make it as an entree on top of sweet potatoes, which we're gonna do today, but you could also put it on crackers, you could put it on white potatoes, really just about anything. I could put it on my fingers probably. I think I'm gonna like it that much. So let's get started. Okay, so it's a chickpea avocado spread, right? And chickpeas and avocados are so good for you. Why? Why, you might ask? Well, first of all, they're plants, right? So we want to eat more plants. Michael Pollan says that what should you eat? Mostly plants. You should eat mostly plants for a lot of reasons because they're full of phytonutrients, plant nutrients that we should be getting on a regular basis. Avocados are probably one of my favorite plants, and we're going to use 2. It calls for 2 medium ones, but I have 1 big avocado, and I'm going to use that, and then I have 1 smaller avocado. And I'll use the 2 of those. Now the recipe says I need to dice them, but you don't have to dice up avocados if you're gonna just smash them anyway, right?
Right.
We're just gonna squish them into the bowl. And that's a very technical cooking term, squish. So we're squishing them ever so gently, ever so firmly actually, into the bowl. This is kind of fun, Derek. Your kids might like this. So we're squishing them into the bowl. These are very, 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 very squishy. So this one I might have cut up because this is a squishy avocado. Getting it underneath my fingernails, so it's never gonna do. All right, so I've got that in there. Last one coming. You know, this is also really good for your face, so what I could do is we could take a break in the middle of shooting this and I could do a little avocado facial.
On you or on me?
On either one, it would work. Avocados do make really good facials. I have not personally done them, but the amount of oils that are in them, they're really, really, really healthful for your face and really full of vitamin E and lots of good things to make your skin look beautiful. I prefer to do it from the inside out. And next it calls for a teaspoon of stone ground or Dijon mustard. I love Dijon mustard. Derek, I know you like stone ground better, don't you?
Easy when it comes to mustard.
Yeah. Well, see how precisely I'm measuring it? This is 1 teaspoon. I always like to go a little bit more on the spicy stuff because I like the spicy stuff. So I have a 1/2 teaspoon of granulated garlic, and I'm just going to shake this in liberally because that's about a half. It's about a 1/2 of a teaspoon right there. Well, maybe 1 more shake. I like garlic, can you tell? I'm also gonna add just a scrunch, another technical term, another scrunch of salt.
Is that Himalayan sea salt?
This is Himalayan sea salt, yes it is, yes sir.
Is it pink?
It is, it's pink, it's Himalayan pink sea salt. Now, this is a magic piece to this recipe. This is a Meyer lemon, and you cannot get these all year round. They're much sweeter than regular lemons, and for this dish, this is gonna be a really good addition to this dish, and I'm gonna use my lemon juicer. And Derek, how do we use the lemon juicer?
You do it upside down.
Right, so it's the opposite of what it looks, and it's gonna catch the seeds, and I need about 2 teaspoons, so I'm going to just eyeball it because that's what I do. You might want to precisely measure it. I rarely precisely measure anything unless I'm baking something because that's the only time that it's really, really, really critical unless there was a particular flavor that you loved that somebody did. So I'm adding the lemon, and next it calls for a 1/4 cup of red onion, and it calls for it to be chopped. And it says that this is optional, and the picture that came with it shows slivered red onions on top. So I can't make heads or tails of that, but I am going to chop this red onion, and then we're going to add that to the bowl as well. And next we're going to add the chickpeas. Now I want to just tell you a little bit about chickpeas. Some people call them garbanzos, but they're the same thing, chickpeas and garbanzos. And these are actually a bean that you should try to have every day if possible. Now there's a lot of controversy over canned beans or beans being good for you, and I want to talk about that a little bit. First of all, usually the controversy is over the phytic acid that's in a lot of beans. And you can get rid of the phytic acid by peeling the outside of the bean if you want to be that crazy. I don't. If you're really, really, really concerned about the phytic acid, make your own damn beans. I mean, make your own beans. and the shells will automatically come off when you soak them. So I'm using canned beans, and I'm using a BPA-free lined can. These are made by Eden, and I think they're some of the top beans that are on the market today. And if you look closely at the bean, you can see a little tail starting, and that's when they're starting to sprout. And that, if you're still concerned about that phytic acid, that is a good sign that these beans are safe to eat. So I'm not going to take all the little hulls off of it. That's like kind of clipping your grass with nail clippers. I'm not doing it. So we're going to add this 15-ounce can of beans to the mixture, and we're going to mash it all up. Here we go. One magic ingredient that you may or may not want to use is a fresh herb of some kind. This recipe calls for oregano, but you could also use dill, you could use basil, you could use thyme, whatever you like the most. I have oregano growing in my garden, and I'm going to get it, and I'll be right back. Yum. This smells so good. I love all fresh herbs, but I really like oregano, and because the recipe calls for that, that's what I'm going to do. It calls for 2 teaspoons of minced oreganos, and I probably put a little bit more than I needed, but that's okay. Let's just mince it up, see what we've got. And with the herbs, that I probably would measure, because you can always add more, but you can't take it out once you've added it, right?
Kind of like pits and prunes.
Yes, kind of like pits and prunes. Did Derek ever tell you guys that he made my lemon ball recipe and left the pits to the dates in them?
No one's heard that story before.
Probably not, and clearly he wasn't watching the very video that he shot. And the funny thing is that he told me that he ate them anyway. That he picked the pits out, the little pieces of the pits out. Now that's how good that recipe is.
I don't want to waste it, plus it's delicious.
It was absolutely delicious. So let's measure this.
Is that the pregnancy tester?
Yeah, I know, it looks like that, doesn't it? We're going to measure 2 teaspoons, and if we don't like the taste of it, we can always add more. But let's just start with that and see what we think. This recipe calls for no food processor involved, which Derek was relieved because sometimes I have a hard time getting the top to the food processor on. It calls for a bean masher. I don't know what a bean masher is. This is a pastry masher or a potato masher, and we're going to try that and see how that works. And if it doesn't work that well, next time I'll try the food processor. So we're going to mash this all together. The avocados are getting really mashed, but the chickpeas are not getting as mashed. And in the recipe it says that she likes to leave chunks of the beans, but I want to get them mashed to some degree because I think that that's going to make a difference when we go to spread them on the sweet potato. What do you think?
It looks colorful.
It is. It's really, I like the red onion in there. It looks pretty good, and I do have quite a few of the chickpeas that are still intact, so I think I'm following what her vision was. But let's do the ultimate test, and let's see what it tastes like. I'm going to get some sweet potatoes that I cooked ahead of time. And one thing that I did with the sweet potatoes is I followed her directions to get them kind of like pudding in the middle, so they're really soft, and then we'll spread these on top. Yum! Hold on. So I used a silicone sheet to not have to use any oil underneath this. I could have used parchment paper, but I had a silicone sheet, so I used that. I also cut off the bottoms of the sweet potato so it would lay flat. It's both for presentation purposes as well as for their baking purposes. So see how these all laid really nice and flat? And now let's try them and see if they're yum. So let's just try one of these. I suppose you want me to try it first to see if it's terrible.
I'm not your guinea pig.
Okay, let me try.
I'm your guinea pig.
This is really, really, really good. Oh my gosh, you're gonna like this. I'm glad that I made enough for you too. I hope you love this recipe as much as I'm loving it. Try it on gluten-free bread, try it on gluten-free crackers, try it on baked potatoes, sweet potatoes. I think this is gonna be a real winner with your family, and I have a feeling that it's gonna be a crowd pleaser at any event that you might happen to take it to. So
It's delicious.
it is delicious. Can't wait to see what we make next week. What are we making next week?
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs? I don't know if that's true. Anyway, stay tuned for our next episode of Cook with Joy. We can't wait to share it with you.